Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Renfield. So yeah, this is gonna be a great time. Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Renfield, and today we watched Renfield. This is a new, I wouldn't even call it horror. It's not really horror at all. It's more of a comedy. You know, a little bit of drama in there, but mostly a comedy. It's hard to say. Maybe I'll come to my conclusion when we get to the house. But this movie was fun. It was very fun. And it also, by the way, starring Nicolas Hoult and Nicolas Cage, two Nicks in one package. But this film was very fun, and Nicolas Hoult and Nicolas Cage were very, very good. Especially Nicolas Cage. I mean, you guys, I don't know, I feel like you should know this at this point. I think you do. But Nicolas Cage is a god. And you just need to acknowledge him as one. And I already do, so you need to. Go see a Nicolas Cage movie, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. A good one, by the way, not a bad one. But, that's, by the way, never mind. I'm just gonna gush about Nicolas Cage. But this movie was great. Nicolas Cage was great as Dracula. Nicolas Hoult was great as Renfield. And the story was pretty good. I did have a little minor gripes with it, but overall, I enjoyed it. And I'll tell you why I enjoyed it, and more, back at the house.
My boss gave me this power. In return, I tend to his needs, including care, feeding.
You bring him people to eat? You're like the guy that gets the villain's Postmates.
But if you were to stop focusing on his needs, what would happen?
He won't grow to full power.
Exactly. He won't grow to full power. What? That's so weird. Why would you phrase it like that? But yes. Hi. Are you here for the meeting? Well, come on.
No! Some call me the Dark One. Others, the Lord of Death. To most, I am Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Renfield, and today, this episode is about Renfield, the new comedy, slightly horror-ish, not really, but it's just really fucking bloody movie starring Nicolas Hoult, Nicolas Cage, and Awkwafina, the three big stars in the movie. And this movie is about Dracula's familiar, Renfield. And I didn't even know that Renfield was a character until now. I know, I'm a fake horror fan. But, yeah. This movie is just, you know, I'm just gonna jump right into the chase. This movie is super fucking fun. It's just super fun, super gory, super bloody, super funny, and it's just enjoyable all the way through. I did have a few gripes with it, which I'll get to later, but, so, basically, I'm just gonna give a quick plot synopsis here. The movie is about, I'm not going to explain every nitty-gritty detail, so basically what it's about, Renfield is in a toxic relationship with Dracula, and that, like, Dracula's an abusive boss, and he's, like, super manipulative, and he's trying to, like, he's using Renfield, and, being really mean to him, and the whole movie is about Renfield going through an arc, and realizing that he can, you know, be a better person, and, you know, make his own future, you know, be a better guy. Like, you know, overcome his odds and defeat Dracula for the time being. And he ends up teaming up, or he ends up meeting Awkwafina, and they become friends, and then at one point Dracula murders, like, his whole focus group, who actually are very important because they help him go through his character arc of him, like, going through self-worth and wanting to, you know, like, he's codependent, and he wants them to help him become independent, because, you know, he's codependent with Dracula, because that's how it works. But, eventually, Dracula murders all the people in the boardroom meeting, not boardroom meeting, the, like, meeting, and he kills all of them, and Renfield is there, Dracula leaves him alive, and he's, like, standing over their bodies, and then Awkwafina comes in, and she's a cop, so she thinks that Renfield murdered all these people, and then, like, she arrests him, and actually the police force is corrupt in this city, and there's also this gang, who the villains are also, there's also, like, the the Del Lobos, I think their name was, or just the Lobos, whatever, it's not important. But Dracula also teams up with the Lobos, and he teams up with them so that they can conquer the world and all that jazz. And eventually the Lobos all get killed by Renfield and Awkwafina, which is cool. And also there's like this big bad guy who's like more like a side villain. He's like a bit of a pussy. His name was Teddy. I think his name is Teddy. And like his death is great. Like Renfield, so basically when you become a familiar, you can get like superpowers by like eating bugs. And Renfield, like, he eats, like, he's getting his ass beat by Teddy, and then he grabs a bug and he eats it, and he, like, Teddy jumps at him and he, like, kicks him in the gut, and, like, his bone, like, it does, like, a fucking Mortal Kombat X-ray. Like, he kicks him and, like, you get, like, it zooms into his skeleton, not zooms into his skeleton, like, you can see his bones, like, break, because it, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's, like, an X-ray thing. And then his blood just gushes everywhere, like, blood fucking everywhere. And that's another thing about this movie, like I said. Blood everywhere. It's a fucking bloodbath, and I love it. I love blood fountains. There was a part of the movie where he, like, ripped off a dude's arms, and he was, like, swinging them around like fucking kendo sticks and just beating people up with it. And while he was beating people up with it, there was still blood spewing out of the arms. It was absolutely ridiculous. But it felt like, it didn't feel like a movie of this, like, budget, you know? It felt like a lower budget, like, ridiculous, like, super bloody movie. But that's why I love this movie, because of how much gore and blood is in it. You know, I think that's fun. I like bloody, gory movies, because they're fun. Unless they're, like, scary, bloody, gory movies, then they're not usually that fun, unless they have, like, a good visual. But, felt like a B movie. You know, like a super gory B movie, which in reality, it was a bit of a B movie, you know. It was a bit of a B movie, in my opinion. But yeah, after all this stuff, after fighting the Del Lobos and Dracula teaming up with them, and then Dracula trying to convince Awkwafina to be his familiar, Awkwafina rejecting that, and then Renfield and Awkwafina get in a fight with Dracula, Nicolas Cage, and they get in a fight with him, and like it looks like Dracula's gonna win, and then Renfield gets like super powered up because he gets revived from Dracula's blood, because Dracula's blood can heal people, and then Renfield beats him up, and they like actually learn some like anti-vampire tactics, and then it looks like Renfield's got the upper hand, but then Dracula like gets his powers, and he's beating the shit out of Renfield, and then at one point, like, it cuts to Awkwafina looking at, like, some cocaine, because they're, like, they're drug dealers, so there's, like, they have cocaine, and she, like, because there's also, like, a holding circle, was that what it's called? I don't remember, yeah, like, a holding circle, and you need a certain kind of powder to use it, but you don't, like, then he flies towards Renfield, and he gets held in the holding powder, and, then, well, like, you can just say a magic incantation, it doesn't matter what powder you use. But then they get weapons, and they, like, dice him up, and they murder him, and, like, his limbs are flying all over the place. It's ridiculous. And, they throw, like, he becomes, like, little cubes, like, little meat cubes. They condense him into little meat cubes, and they, like, throw him in a drain, and he's probably coming back sometime, but not anytime soon. And, like, before he dies, he goes, "Hail, Satan!" And, like, there are certain points where you can, like, he doesn't really, I mean, he sounds like Nick Cage, but he's, like, doing, like, a Dracula voice, but you know when Nick Cage, like, screams, you can tell it's Nick Cage, like, when he's, like, screaming something, like, when he said, "Hail, Satan!" like, when he screamed it, like, I didn't hear Dracula, all I heard was Nicolas Cage, and I love it, because I love Nicolas Cage, but, yeah, honestly, I think Nicolas Cage, he was just so fun in this movie, and the movie was fun. And he especially, he just had all these weird-ass faces he would make. You could tell he was having a really, like, so much fun being Dracula. And talking about him being Dracula, he was a great Dracula, in my opinion. And I think he was, he did a good adaptation of his version of the character. And they also did a lot of recreations of the shots from the original Bela Lugosi Dracula film, the Universal Dracula film from back a long time ago. And the black and white. And it was, they were pretty good, faithful reshots from the ones that I recognized. And Also, I think that obviously Nicolas, Nicolas Hoult, I also think did a great job as Renfield. I think he was a great, like, sympathetic underdog of the story. And I also think Awkwafina was great as, like, the companion. You know, Renfield's, like, you know, faithful. She wasn't as faithful in the start, but she eventually became faithful when she realized that he wasn't all that bad companion. She was just good as a companion for Renfield and a friend. But there's one gripe that I have with this film. There's one gripe that I have with it. This isn't like a big gripe, okay? It's just like a little pet peeve. Like, there are so many scenes in this movie where there's like a sad emotional scene, like a sad piano playing over it. There's like 6 or like, it felt like there were like 6 fucking sad boy posting hours scenes. You know what I mean? There were like so many sad boy scenes, and it's like, come on. Why do you have this many like emotional, sad, like, talk scenes? Like, there's so many of them. Like, I started to notice it by the like 2nd or 3rd one. Maybe like the 3rd one I started to notice, wow, there's a lot of emotional scenes in like the first 40 minutes. But then like they just kept coming, and it's like, wow, this movie really likes emotional moments. Because like I just found it kind of distracting sometimes how the movie was like super emotional, super sad at some points, and then it was like super ridiculous and super stupid in others. Like 5 minutes later, there'd be like a dude getting his like head punched off his socket. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's kind of dumb. But that's not like detracting from my enjoyment of the movie. I just find it kind of weird. But yeah, really, really enjoyed this movie, and if you're like a Dracula vampire fan, you know, horror fan, if you just want to like have a good time, laugh at a funny movie or like a ridiculous movie, this is definitely recommended. And I think I'd rate this film a 7.5. Really enjoy this movie, and you should go and watch this movie right now if you like horror or ridiculous, stupid movies. And yeah, I think I've said all I need to say. I think I've said my piece. So guys, hope you like this video. Hope you share with your friends. Subscribe. Turn notifications on. Comment on what you liked it. But you guys know, you know how this goes. You know how this goes. I didn't actually mean to say that. What I really meant to say was, if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike, tell me what you hate me in the comments. Signing off. I never drink wine. I want to suck your blood. Is that better? Is that a good vampire joke? Do you want a vampire joke, you fucking piece of shit? Do you want a fucking vampire joke?